Time now for a check of weather. Andrew Whitmire filling in this week. Andrew, some areas of Kansas seeing a little rain this week, but just to the south and east of here, some heavy rainfall fell in an area that desperately needed it. So is more of that rain in store coming up this next week.
In time, hopefully we can get a little bit more added moisture here as we flip this calendar from October over into November, especially across parts of the central and southern plains, as again we really need that added moisture. We look at the Climate Prediction Center though, and their outlook for precipitation for the month of November is really kind of painting a dry picture for the southern half of the plains as well as parts of the deep south. Meanwhile, an active pattern likely will be setting up, especially for the first half of the month across parts of the Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look at the root zone map here for this upcoming week, the last one here for the month of October. And again, lots of reds and oranges is something we don't want to see. That's again the very dry soils that are basically inundated up and down the plain states. Really the only good news to kind of pinpoint is parts of the Four Corners, not nearly as dry. In fact, parts of Arizona and New Mexico could even ease up a little bit on some of that added moisture. And we're even seeing some of that drier weather working its way across parts of the East Coast, parts of the Carolinas and Virginia, tapping into some of that drier weather as well. And if we walk you through the drought monitor that was released here on October 27th, you will see that again we have added drier locations here across parts of the Tennessee, Ohio River Valley. And again, we've seen some improvement across parts of the southern and central plains with that exceptional drought, but nonetheless here, a wide chunk of real estate here dealing with some type of dry conditions here as we have gone throughout to this Thursday, and this trend is likely going to continue here as we go into at least the first half of November. Let's track that jet stream for this Monday here for this Halloween. We'll be watching a slight dip in the jet stream. That's going to allow for some added moisture chances for Halloween across parts of the Great Lakes, Midwestern states, and even across parts of the eastern seaboard. Meanwhile, as we head on into November, Tuesday, November 1st, we're going to be watching this trough kind of develop here. And once that kind of develops, it's going to kind of stay parked across the western half of the country. And that's going to allow for a more active pattern to shape up for the western half. Meanwhile, the eastern half of the country is going to be influenced under this upper level ridge. And that's going to allow temperatures to be well above average. And we're even going to see the potential there for not many rain systems to kind of work their way through. This always shake up Halloween here. Again, a wet pattern shaping up for parts of the northeast coast there. Then as we head towards midweek here, high pressure kind of dominating. We'll be watching that trough developing across the Pacific Northwest, bringing with it some mountain snow, as well as potential for some pockets of heavier rainfall. And that's kind of where a lot of the moisture is going to be situated. We'll have to watch for some very small, subtle systems to kind of come on through across parts of the central U.S. and across parts of the eastern U.S. To get any additional moisture chances across the lower 48. Temperatures this week, again, with that trough developing out west, that's where the below average temperatures are likely going to be situated. Meanwhile, above average temperatures expected for the eastern half of the country. And where that trough does decide to set up, that's where we're going to see much above average precipitation for the western half of the U.S.
Thanks, Andrew. Well, the lack of rain means the transportation sector hasn't had a break or a chance to catch up this fall. From cattle numbers to grain prices, we will cover it all from Kansas State University with our Marketing Roundtable next.